Welcome everybody, thank you for tuning in for another review from our 2022 eMTB Shootout. Today we're going to be discussing the Rocky Mountain Altitude Powerplay C70. This is one of the contenders in our enduro category. We have broken down trail and enduro, and so bikes with similar travel, similar intended applications will be competing against each other. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for all the individual videos leading up to our grand finale. Next to me I have Robert and Ryan, and they are two of the testers that rode this bike. Again, we had a crew of 8 guys cycling through all these bikes over 10 days of testing. We've done a long-term review on this bike as we've had it for quite a while, as well as a more in-depth tech check feature many months back. So if you really want to learn a lot more about the unique technology Rocky Mountain has put into this bike, make sure you check that out. We will link it below. So this is a carbon alloy smooth link frame with an aluminum chainstay and seat stay. Features 160 millimeters of rear travel with 170 millimeters up front. It has Fox 38 Performance fork with a Fox Float X2 Performance rear shock. There's a Shimano XT 12-speed drivetrain and Shimano XT brakes, 203 millimeter rotors front and rear, and some less than round WTB ST I-30 wheels. Thank you very much, Robert. Can't totally blame you, I guess. And it comes with a 175 dropper post, which is very awesome. The drive unit is very awesome, I think. It is totally unique. It is something that Rocky Mountain designed and developed in-house. Has the most power in the Shootout with 108 Newton meters of torque. That is their Dyname 4.0 system. Includes a 720 watt-hour battery, nicely integrated Jumbotron screen, and a pretty small minimalistic controller up on the bar. I really like Rocky's electronics. I like their cell phone integration. I like how you can easily customize the power, how it comes on, how it feels. It is definitely a ride that I think you need to put more energy into.
Is that something that you can change, or that's just the characteristic of the motor?
Absolutely, yeah. You can customize more or less assist, how fast that assist ramps up. Right now we have it set to a pretty fast and aggressive on and ramp, but it doesn't have, I would say, that artificial feel that like a Bosch kind of can soft spin and it'll zip you up. Yeah. But when you step on it, and you want to try to get up like some of those rock slabs and tech bits, it's got power.
Yeah, it's there.
It just crawls its way up, yeah.
Yeah, so you're obviously familiar with riding lots of rocks. We've done a bit here. What are your thoughts on climbing this bike?
Yeah, I mean, you just spin your legs and the power just really pulls you up the hill. You're fairly well weighted between the wheels. It's yeah, quite relaxed body position, just to sit there and let it pull you up. But you do have to give it that little bit of input to actually get it to realize that you want to go, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess briefly, we will touch on the geo on this bike. We opted to run a size large. Robert, how tall are you?
I'm 6'2", or 189 centimeters or so.
And it's a 475 mil reach, which I like, although it did feel a touch short on this bike. I'm not exactly sure why, but 475 reach, 638 stack height, 439 millimeter chain stays, a 75.5 degree seat tube angle, and a 63.5 degree head tube angle, in the slack position. It does have Rocky Mountain's Ride 4 adjustability. There's a 34 millimeter bottom bracket drop, and they have 170 mil crank arms, which were kind of a downside to the awesome climbing capabilities of this bike. I found that we were hitting pedal and crank arms quite a bit in the Rocky stuff. Ryan, what'd you think?
I have a little bit of a different experience. I felt that it took a bit more cadence to get the thing going. Torque was there when you needed it. It is an interesting motor. It's definitely unique and different than the Bosch and Shimano. I do like the other motors better. One concern I do have is if I purchased this and I had motor issues, you know, where am I taking it? Locally, or if I'm out traveling with buddies and stuff like that, you know, if I had motor issues, where would I take it? Is that a big downfall? No, it's just, I guess, something maybe consumers might consider, you know, I guess reliability and where to service it, and if there's an accident or something like that, something fails. I felt that it was a little bit long in some of these tighter switchbacks.
Rear end? Whole bike?
Whole bike.
Okay.
You know, I'm 6 foot on the dot. I felt it was a pretty good bike. I do like the electronic integration. I like how it's like nice and slim and trim.
Where do you think the bike excels?
I don't know. I didn't really like. There's nothing that really like stood out. Like, oh, that was freaking awesome. You know, to me.
I think in the same way, that's why I like it, because it's not the plushest, it's not the firmest and raciest feeling. It kind of strikes a middle ground. It means, for me anyway, I'd be happy taking it pretty much anywhere, and I think it'd do pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess because of that, it wouldn't win like a particular pigeonhole category, but I think as an all-rounder, it's pretty damn good.
Like the Swiss Army knife with the most power to get you up the hill.
Exactly.
Where, if you had to pick an area where you really liked this bike, where it did stand out, what do you think that would be? Because there were some sections where I saw you on this bike and you went through them and you were like, yeah, I like this. You know,
on those climbs you were smiling. On the climbs you were smiling, and that playful section with the drop and the berms and stuff like that, you were having a good time.
Yeah, I think the geometry generally feels pretty good for the not super gnarly steep stuff, but the take it back a step and you're going fast and you're hitting stuff hard. It just yeah, made me smile, like you say.
Yeah.
Overall, this is a bike, and if you saw our long-term review on it, you'll know I really like it. It has allowed me to hit some of the bigger drops and step downs that I've ever hit on an e-bike before. I feel that it is a very confident bike.
Yeah.
I think when you let off the brakes and you're hitting, you know, small to medium-sized chatter, rocks, you know, out in Simi Valley, I think that mid-high pivot allows that wheel path to not be too radically rearward, but enough to get out of the way and really kind of let you feel composed, which is how I feel on this bike. It's not the most lively, poppy, snappy, and playful bike, but I think, like you said, right, like it kind of just sits right in this middle category of not polarizing you one way or another, like say the Yeti. And because it's just so good right in this middle zone of like, it's capable here, it's capable there too, and it doesn't really have any major drawbacks, I think that's a plus for a lot of people. Yeah. Your concern is definitely valid though, you know, with that durability, that serviceability if you're out traveling and maybe there's not a Rocky dealer around, or, you know, lots of bikes have Shimano, lots of bikes have Bosch, only one bike has Dyname, you know? Any last thoughts?
Just would like to point out how good it is at just clawing its way up the hill.
Yeah.
Like above anything else that I've tested this week, it's been
the best climber, you think?
Yeah.
So if you like hill climb challenges, this is...
Yeah, I would take this for a hill climb challenge.
Okay. All right, so there is the Rocky Mountain Altitude Powerplay, a very capable contender, one that we are excited to share our final results of in the grand finale episode of our e-bike shootout. So once again, please subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for that, as well as more individual bike reviews coming up. Thank you guys very much for watching the video, and we hope to see you out on the trails.